I'm going to show you how you can get the most leads from networking, events, expos, however that needs to look. And so we're going to break that down and go into this right now. What happened more recently is I've just been at a business expo that's been happening in 3 different parts of Tasmania in Australia, for those of you that aren't familiar with that location. And what it was it was talking about all things small business. It was talking about the support that was available through the government, but then it was also showing initiatives and then other people that were providers that could potentially be a good joint venture or someone that you could work with in the space of whatever it might be. Now, that's where we came along. We attended those events and we spoke about all things with automation, Google reviews, and artificial intelligence. Okay. Now, the interesting part of that is when we ran this last year, we ran something very similar to this, which gave us a very good result. And because it's so automated, it really does put a lot of things on autopilot for us. So first things first, let's have a look in Canva, because what I did first is I used AI to create these images. And you can see here that we're talking about the business engine system, because we're all about helping with the ings of business, from capturing, nurturing, and closing them. So what we did is we made a flyer that talks about what that system is, and we dropped a QR code in there. And I'm sure you're aware that it can be super annoying when you're trying to grab the QR codes or somewhere free to put these, and then it might be that it's limited by only a couple of scans or they just don't work. And it really, really is frustrating. And I feel like that's why when people have that kind of negative experience, they stop trying to use them. Whereas I'm going to show you a software called GoHighLevel, where that makes it super, super easy to be able to do it. I love it. I actually have on my back a gigantic QR code, massive QR code, right? That's on my back. And I can tell you right now, I would not have felt anywhere near as comfortable as doing that as what I am now, because I know that my system's so bulletproof. You can even see here on my phone, I've also got it there as well. So I'm very connected with QR codes and I choose them to do different things. Now, coming back to this expo, you can see that we've got a QR code here that people can scan. How you do this is use this software called GoHighLevel. Okay, if you aren't aware of what it is an incredible, incredible system that helps you. That if you are doing outreach, if you're running ads, it helps you to capture those leads, nurture them, and then close them, right? So they're the benefits of what it's doing here. You can see that there's a few different QR codes that I've made over the time of being in the QR space with these. And it's very, very easy to do. What you do is you go create QR code, you then give it a name, you then choose that you want it to be the website, you hit next, you put in your website URL. In here, we go next again, and then we can choose the overall look and then save it. Once you save it, you then go through to here, right? Where you can then see all these different QR codes. And what's really cool about this is each of these do different things, just like you've seen before. And what we can do is we can then have them coming through on here. So you can see for the business engine system for the competition, but then you can also see that I use it for the Google reviews as well. And the benefit there is then when I'm talking about things and I want to help someone get to it quickly, and you know, you don't want to be using flyers or printing these out. You just want to make it really easy. This is the best part of doing it. You just go, look, can you scan this? Hey, here's a demo voice agent. Can you give it a call? It's really that easy. What happens is when people were then scanning that QR code, we then had it connected to a landing page. Again, the landing page can be built in GoHighLevel. And so you can see here, hey, jump on in. You're entering to win our Boulder engine base system. And that's valued at 5964. One winner announced soon. And then we've created a form in GoHighLevel as well. So you can see we're trying to gain their first name, their business name, the industry, their email, and their phone number. And really, I like asking for a few more things in a competition and causing some friction, because if I'm going to go giving away a system that does have that true value of $5,964, then I want to make sure that people are being serious about entering this competition as well, because I have seen the impacts of what we've been able to do with empowering other people with their businesses, in various different ways. So I want people to be able to respect it the same way. So you can get away with just putting in first name, email address if you want, but I like to add friction. And then we can also put in our T's and C's. Now, the T's and C's make this so good because then when someone ticks that, that means that they're saying they're happy to accept those, right? And then we've got our footer details. This is how you can get in touch with us. And then you've got our social links. Now, coming over here, once people filled out that form, we then had some automation. And it looked a little bit like this. So we had the form, which was filled. So we built a form and we said, this is how it was built. And you can see here, form here, competition form. We then like to add a system note to our contacts. So you can see that this was would then be added to the contacts saying that they submitted a competition form. We then tag them as well. So we want to know where they came from. So if we're running a different competition another time, means that we can run with the exact same thing, change out the tag or even update the note a little bit so that we know each time where it's going for a different competition. I spoke with a photography business in Sydney and they run competitions all the time and they are doing all of this manually with thousands of entries coming in depending on the events that they're doing. We also then do an internal app notification. So we know in the app, up in the top right, you get notified that they're there. We then have our internal email notification that then goes out to us as well so that we can go, hey, a lead submitted the competition form. And then we have it there with a button. So it takes us directly to that contact so that we can look at doing other things with them if we want to give them a call, send them an email, whatever that looks like. We then drop them into our pipeline because we want to measure our activity, make sure that they're not forgotten about, but that we're also making sure that we're making the most of every lead that's coming through. Then you can see that it goes through to a competition form saying, hey, congrats, you're all in. This is the details. This is what you're actually trying to win. And down below, what I've then done is spoken about building 1 month of content so I can, try and engage with them a little bit more on things there. And then we've got our audits, a bit more information around Google changes that are happening in the algos. And then also just a little footer down the bottom, okay? We then have our text message that goes out, hey, first name, your entry's been locked in, check your email for confirmation. I can't tell you guys, I did a presentation on this in 2 of those locations about just sending out an email and a text for confirmation. People's brains were nearly exploding because of how amazed they were by this. And this is why I say it's so impactful when you set things up in place so that people feel acknowledged instantly as they're going through engaging with you, okay? Then we've got people where they're waiting 7 days. We've got 26 people in there at the moment. Then we go down to the competition follow-up. So leading up to the draw, which will be happening at the end of the month, you can then see I've made another one talking about the winner being announced, what's within there, and then another call to action being about that month of content. Again, because not everyone's ready to buy, some people may not trust you. And so this is a way of leveling up to do that. And then a follow-up text as well. So this shows you just how easy this can happen. And even just putting it together, the landing pages, you can see here we've got the competition form. We've then got a book a call with us page, which people can come through to here, see if you qualify. That then goes down into a calendar. And once they've booked in, after they've filled out the confetti to enter the com, they can then book in a time, right? And once they've booked in that time, again, thank you for booking the call. It then goes into automation. It then gives them appointment reminders for that as well. And then I also like to keep all of my campaigns together. So people that were there on the day that were ready to check out, we had a QR code that they could scan. That would then take them through to this page where they could then get started with one of our services, right? So these were the services. These were the options that were there. And then these were all the inclusions that were coming through there as well. Okay. If I had any questions, again, we don't try to hide away from this because people connect to people. We then have the appointment scheduler in there as well. So this is how easy it is to really put this stuff together. you can get all of this in place within a few hours. And once you've got it in place, then you can continue to replicate this time and time and time again. As you do more of these expos, you might even just want to have a QR code on your phone that then takes into, for example, a landing page or something like a link tree that has a short video or a picture of you. And then you can build it out and, continually use these QR codes without ever worrying about them to failing. Okay. And I just love that because, I've purchased 14 business shirts for myself. As you can appreciate, that's a lump of money to put out there if I just had QR codes that were failing all the time. Whereas I walk around comfortably and have people scanning them all the time. And so I encourage you to have a look at this as a method of your marketing. And I look forward to seeing you on another call, on another video like this, where we can talk more about that. And be sure to like, subscribe, follow all the other videos that I'm putting together. There's plenty of things that we're doing in this space to make sure that we're providing enough value, and you're seeing some experts jumping on board and speaking with us as well. But I'll see you on the next video.